Let's finish each other's sentences.
All right.
Do you want to know why?
I've got two tickets to paradise.
And you can have one
of them.
Brian wants to do a podcast.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Friend Dog Studios. This is Brian Wants to Do a Podcast, the podcast where Brian wants to do one, and I'm here too. I'm Ben Oxshire.
I'm Brian Huther.
And we're back. It's been a little bit. We were both on trips to see our families when the last episode was scheduled to be made, but we had to see our families.
I have a 1-year-old nephew, and there's no reason to do anything else.
Who's he voting for?
He's not voting.
Okay.
I know. It's almost worse.
I mean, it shows his privilege for sure.
Yeah, that he just doesn't have to care.
Yeah, it's an indicator of his position.
He started saying sounds and walking around, almost walking. He's almost walking.
Yeah.
It makes me think of back to when I was almost walking and I was a little kid and I don't remember it. Nobody's like, I remember being a baby. It was like this.
Well, I have heard people say that. And when people say that, I punch them in the face because they're lying to me.
Yeah.
And I don't need that sort of influence in my life. I don't want to talk to liars.
Ben has a one lie, one punch policy.
One lie, one punch, one man, one vote.
He already punched me a couple times today.
It's true. I said, Brian, how are you? He said, I'm good. And I just punched him right in the face.
He knows that's always a lie.
I cannot abide those sorts of lies. It's going to be an uppercut to your upper butt, which is what I call Brian's face.
You know, I've started calling my beard my chin pubes. And I think they're just chin pubes on my upper butt. And
today's episode is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Do you have chin pubes on your upper butt? For just $1, we'll send you $1's worth of shaving equipment, and then you're going to need more because that's not enough.
We'll send you $1, and you send us your shavings.
Give us your chin pubes, and we'll give you some American currency.
Because, I'm looking at your beardage right now.
I wish you wouldn't.
I got a scraggle to me, and I don't know, I haven't had a beard for very long, so I guess maybe I need to keep combing it out and, conditioning it and putting rose water in it on full moons.
That's the most
doing all that
part.
witchy business. I'm a beard witch. You know this? You know this about me? I'm a beard witch now, Ben.
Oh.
I use magic with my beard in order to bring about my will in the world.
How's it going so far?
It's not going good.
I hate it when I go to a Subway and I order a beard witch and there's a bunch of chin pubes all over it.
I hate that. You call yourself a sandwich artist?
Yeah, you're a hack. You're a sandwich hack fraud. You're never going to make art of sandwiches that leaves its mark on this world.
I wish I had a lot more time than I do and a lot more energy because I would love to go right now and make a website what's called beardwitch.com and go on there and talk about the sexy beard magic you can do as a man witch to try to bring progressive values to this great land of ours.
Today's episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Use our offer code Squarespace
and make me that website
10% off making Brian's website for him. Squarespace, bring an uppercut to your upper butt. Brian, what idea do you want to bring to the proverbial table today?
How did this get spayed?
What?
It's going to be a podcast about pets. We're going to go find the pets that deserve to be able to pass on their genetic materials, but couldn't. And then we're going to say, how did this get spayed? And we are going to get the scoop, not the poop scoop, like with the dog, but the scoop, like the news scoop. Is this anything?
Okay. Well, first of all, when you said, how did this get spayed? My first inclination was we're going to look beat for beat at the career of David Spade and just try to determine how any of it happened because it is a little inexplicable.
I would say that's better, but as I was about to say that's better, I remembered that if I cared about good, this conversation would never have happened.
Is it your position, Brian? Are you sort of the anti-Bob Barker of our time? Do you believe that the pet population should not be controlled and that there should not be spaying or neutering?
It's pet eugenics, essentially, which is what we do already. We already do pet eugenics.
So wait, is it? I'm just trying, and I'm trying to understand, not criticize.
Okay, here's regrettable spayment is the sort of the name of the game here. Is we try to find those sweet little puppers and pats. What has had their ability to procreate taken away.
Sure.
And we find the ones that's like, wow, how did this get spayed? And maybe that's like a crazy story.
We evaluate whether or not an animal should have had its reproductive rights taken from it.
Yeah, maybe it's just a story of like, it was crazy how it happened. And we're not making a judgment about it, but it's just like, we're going to tell you how this got spayed.
Pet eugenics is a hot topic, first of all. So that's a point going for this. The other point is that there's a lot of mileage in the sort of Spade wordplay arena. Maybe one episode is called Getting It Spayed in the Shade. Throwing Spade. Spay it forward.
Pay to spay.
Spayment on delivery.
Spay it forward. Did you say that one?
I did already.
You said that one.
We're out of ideas.
I wasn't listening because I was thinking about how I wanted to respond to your idea instead of how I wanted to play it with it. You know, Ben, of all the people that we could have been and all the things that we could have done,
yeah,
I feel like we being the people who do a podcast about podcasts that isn't actually about podcasting about podcasts is like the most us thing.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
Yeah, if you got a palm reader in here right now, they would say, oh, yeah, you're doing what you were meant to do.
Yeah, I think
I can tell by this squiggle upon your hand.
It's easy for them to say that, though.
Yeah.
Because if they were like, oh, you're supposed to be in Louisiana rocking the blues down on Beale Street.
Yeah, you're way off.
Yeah.
It turns out that predicting things is extraordinarily easy when it's already happened.
Yeah.
You can just be like, oh, boy, it seems like you've got a pube chin.
This was destiny.
Brian, I want to talk about David Spade's career.
Now you're going to have to remind me who that is.
The bulk of his highlights of his career happened in like the 90s. He used to be a cast member on Saturday Night Live, and he was in some movies that were sort of cult classics now, like Tommy Boy and
Boy, sometimes when people talk about like the 90s,
yeah,
I just remember what a different world other people live in. That just like knowing the names of movies and actors. I started doing that like a year ago.
Right. Can you list all the movies you're aware of now?
Graverobbers 3.
I haven't seen that one.
It's better than 2, but not as good as 1. And that is the story of them having antics.
You know what I like about Graverobbers, the series, is that it took like the Ocean's 11 sort of heist thing, but it really dumbed it down quite a lot. Cause they have the part where they're gathering the team and they're like, we needed this guy and we needed this guy. It's all just men who can use a shovel.
The iconic scene where Mr. Applesauce is walking down the street as his character, and he just sees like a worker just like working, and he's just like, how would you like to make approximately the same amount of money?
Yeah.
And then the guy comes with him.
They have to get the guy who can dig with a shovel. They have to get the guy who can hold a flashlight.
There's a guy who can carry things.
Yeah.
It's like the 3-person team, and the scene where they're breaking down how they're going to do it. And it's like, okay, we're going to go to the grave. We're going to dig it up. And here's the tricky part. We're going to rob it.
Yeah.
And then they just do that.
And then there's the big twist at the end where they didn't think through which grave they were robbing. And so they just end up with like somebody's corpse, and they realize that that's not valuable to have.
They just thought grave robbing seems easy.
And no one wants us to do it. Therefore, there must be something in it for us.
Yeah. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
If we want to rob stuff, we might as well start here.
Robbing the living is problematic because they can defend themselves. We rob a grave, we're on the gravy train.
It's a victimless crime.
It's a victimless crime, but it's also a benefitless crime. No one benefits from this crime. No one loses and no one benefits.
Yeah, it's a net zero. It's
a free internet for 10 hours a month using our disk.
It's no carbs, no carbon emissions crime.
It was interesting in the third installment that the twist was, oh, whose grave are we robbing? And the guy says, mine. and then he shoots himself and he falls into
Yeah.
the hole they just dug, and then the other two pick him up and like take the change out of his pockets.
Yeah.
It was a twist. I didn't see it coming.
Very short movie.
I'm nervous because Disney has acquired the Graverobbers series now,
Yeah,
and I mean, they do good work a lot of the time, but they seem to sort of create movies based on audience feedback, which is something that shifts a lot, and so there's no coherent like
Audiences don't
plan.
know what they want.
Yeah.
They say they want the last thing that they enjoyed. They say they want that again.
Yeah.
But they don't want that again. They
No.
wouldn't enjoy it another time.
Yeah.
They want you to give them something new that they didn't know they wanted.
Right.
This is my theory that I apply to everyone everywhere, which is you don't know what you want or what's best for you, but I do.
The campaign yard signs that you had made up that had that slogan on them were off-putting. Can I give you that feedback?
You can give me that feedback, but I sure as hell am not going to take it.
Right, because I don't know what's
You
best
don't
for
know
me.
what's best for you
Or what I want.
or what you want. Give me the remote. That's one of my campaign slogans. It's just like, give me the remote.
Things will get slicker if you hand me the clicker.
Just scoot over, let me do it.
Give me remote control.
Vote for the guy who wants the remote.
Think of the remote possibilities.
Oh, go! Don't you wish you could go somewhere remote right now? The whole campaign is based on this concept of a remote.
Yeah, and that no one truly possesses responsible autonomy.
There's always someone who knows better than you.
I can't remember what the office was you were even running for in this capacity.
Oh, The Office, like the TV show.
You were running for the
I'm
office.
running for office.
You were running for the NBC television program.
Yeah, I would like to get on there and make a few changes.
Okay, well, it's been off the air for quite a while.
And that's the thing I'd like to change.
The major change is to bring it back.
The big change is to bring it back.
And if someone hands you the remote, you can turn the TV on and change it to The Office.
See, what about this are people not getting?
I don't know. I mean, I thought you did pretty well in the last debate. I think the media was pretty unfair to you.
They were unfair to me because they weren't even there.
That was the least fair part of the whole thing.
If you want to be fair and balanced, why don't you cover everybody who's talking? That's what you should do. I am talking quite a bit, let me say. And I'm the one who's right, too. So it feels like a lot of media bias to me that I don't get what I want.
Media bias is when the people who I see in my media intake are not saying the things I already thought.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
I don't know why that's allowed.
So I want to bring back The Office, and I want to stop Disney from making Gravemakers 4.
If only Disney had the kind of capital to make its passion project.
Yeah.
You know, they're not there yet. I understand they're scrappy. They're you know, they got to play the game in order to, you know, pay the bills. I get that. But I hope one day they can find themselves with the kind of success that would really allow them to make what they believe in.
I just think they have enough fans at this point that they can stop selling out and like do a Kickstarter or something. It's time for them to just take that next step.
And they should do a Kickstarter too, because they can't be expected to use their billions in profit.
No. As we all know, money is for having. Money is just a thing to have so you can be a person on a list of people who have a lot of it.
Yeah, it's not for exchanging for goods or services.
Yeah, it's not a way to track value so that we can purchase the things that we need to survive.
It's not just like an arbitrary system by which we keep our ecosystem in balance.
Can I say this? Can I say that honestly, poor people having money to spend on their own survival is a waste of it.
Yeah.
Because that money would look so good in a bank vault.
This is why I say to them, like, you know why you're poor? Because you've got money all wrong. Money's for having.
Why do you keep spending it? You dumb idiot.
You keep handing it to your landlord and to a grocery store clerk. Like, it's for having.
Yeah. If you'd stop spending your money, maybe you'd have enough of it.
Yeah.
To be on a list. Whereas rich people think, I'm going to take my millions of dollars and save them.
Yes.
If you save up your millions of dollars, then you won't find yourself without millions of dollars.
You need that rainy day fund so that when it rains, you can wrap yourself in a blanket and go look at your pile of money.
Yeah, exactly.
You need the money.
You need to have it.
Speaking of having money, let's go to Patreon.
Okay, cool. Oh, hey, friends. This is Ben and Brian over here in your ears right now. I bet we're in headphones or in earphones.
Yeah, probably, unless you're listening in a car, maybe.
I'm going to be on this side.
And I'm going to be on this side.
Let's switch sides.
Oh, okay.
I'm on this side.
And now I'm over here.
Ooh, that's fun. If you like having fun, then you could consider going to our patreon.com/frienddog and joining the thriving community of Friend Dog Studios fans who give us money when we do stuff.
And I'll say this, we have decided, by popular demand and also just by our own brains deciding things, that we are going to go ahead and start working on the follow-up to the 2016, the movie trailer video, which is a thing we made in 2016 that was very popular, and everybody's been like, what's the 2020 version? We've been like, we don't know if we could really make that work. And, full disclosure, something could happen between now and the end of the year that prevents it from happening, but we are working on it. We're planning on doing it, and we could really use a budget for it. So if you go to patreon.com/frienddog and you support us and you give us a little bit of money every time we release one of these podcast episodes, that will just help us make that video bigger and better.
And if you can't do that, just go on to your wherever your podcast app right now. Just open it up and see if there's a rate and review feature.
Yeah.
And if there is, just go ahead and click on that. And just all it takes is a few seconds if you want to just do 5 stars and then just write in good. That's great.
Yeah.
And then if you leave us a review, we will read it on the air in a voice that we think fits your username.
I agree. I'm with you, Brian. In fact, I'm so with you. I'm going to come back over to this side where you're on.
Good.
Of the headphones.
I'm glad that we can see things from the same point of view.
Yeah. It smells weird over here.
That's not me. What was the idea?
The idea was, how did this get spayed?
I don't remember that being true.
An exploration of the justification of removing a pet's ability to reproduce.
I like to imagine Judge Judy and
so do I every morning.
Oh boy.
Twice on Saturdays.
Okay.
Judge me, baby.
Okay.
Find me in contempt of court. Ooh,
May I
pass summary judgment on my performative reenactment of a small claims court case on television, baby.
All rise. Done and done.
Way ahead of you.
Okay. Oh, God. Is she in any way an actual judge?
Yes.
Oh.
She is a real judge, but I mean,
not anymore, right?
Future Ben popping in here while I'm editing. I looked it up, and apparently my suspicions were mostly correct on this. Judge Judy and other daytime court shows are not real courtrooms. The judge is not acting in a capacity as an official judge. The producers go and they find people who have pending cases in small claims court, and they get them to agree to have the case arbitrated on their show instead. And then they basically just give the people an appearance fee, give them a little money for doing their court thing on TV. So the cases are real and the decisions are enforceable, but it's arbitration, not civil court. And now you know.
Yeah, it feels just like a really gross, poorhouse situation.
Well, but Brian, if those people had just had their money.
If they just had their money instead of spending it.
Then you won't end up on Judge Judy in order to get more money that you're, again, not going to have.
I think that poor people deserve it. Because if they didn't deserve it, would they be poor?
No.
You know what I mean?
Because Brian, that would imply that there's some element of chaos in the universe, and and that the universe
don't get what they deserve.
Right, that the universe is not inherently just, and that is that's an idea that I find unnerving. So it can't be true.
I'm either uncomfortable with that, or I don't want people to believe it because then they'll find me out.
Yes.
Oh God, I recently heard someone describe the reason that we should vote in the 2020 election not because we have the power and we need to use it, or like this is the right thing, or we need to do. It's not like a moral. There's just like, God, I'm tired. I just want to move on with my life.
Yeah,
and that really resonated with me.
I think that resonates with a lot of people. And like, I've felt that. And I've had to remind myself, like, okay, some problems go away if this man gets out of office.
Yeah.
A whole bunch don't. And there's a lot of fighting to be done. And you cannot unknow what you know now.
I support Joe Biden until the day he is elected. That's how I feel.
I'm going to show up at his house on January 23rd or whatever that day is, his White House.
His White House.
And I'm going to be like, look, I know you already know your way around this place. You were here for 8 years. So I got one question for you. Where do they keep the Reese's?
Where's the pea place?
And see, in this scenario I'm describing, I've already forgotten all my vigilance and outrage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm
Suddenly
imagining
I'm
imagining a more comfortable reality, and I just want to go to the bathroom and have some candy.
Yeah, it's like suddenly I'm in a place where they just have the money, and I'm like, this is what I should have been doing.
This has been the real me all along. That woman who came and looked at my palm and said, you're right where you ought to be, having money and having yourself a Snickers in the White House Pea Palace. She was right.
The moment that you're signed in as president, first they put your hand on the Bible,
Yeah.
and then they put your hand into the hands of a fortune teller who says, you deserve this.
You know, there's no law that says you have to be sworn in on a Bible, which there shouldn't be, because that would be a massive violation of the separation of church and state. But every single president has done it, because imagine what would happen if a president was just like, no, I want to swear myself in on Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Man, that actually I feel like would be so strange. People wouldn't really mind it too much.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking forward to like shitty, nitpicky political articles about putting mustard on a hamburger or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like, you wore a tan suit, how dare you?
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna come back.
When there is no longer a massive catastrophe every day,
They will create them.
then the things that are going to be controversial will sort of come back to the level of normal things that are controversial. And people like me are going to feel like they're in Crazy Town. But I've been in Crazy Town for a long, long time, and I've only got this to say. If your Crazy Town's looking green and brown, you'd better stay away. Don't pick up Crazy Town when it's green and brown. It's gone bad at the fridge. You gotta throw it out. Don't scream and shout. That's just the way it is.
If you're going down to Crazy Town and you're feeling a little old, then you might just unplug your nostrils, because you might be smelling some mold.
Hey,
Get on into that fridge and clean it. And let me tell you, I'm going to preach
hey.
that you haven't really cleaned a fridge until you've used some bleach. How about that?
I don't know where we ended up. I don't know where we started. I don't know what happened in the middle.
Honestly, I don't know what we're doing.
If you were elected president and you could swear yourself in on any book, and like that was like a normal, if it was like a normal thing for presidents to just like
pick their own book.
favorite book and swear in on that, like what would you swear in on?
A John Grisham novel, any of them. And I would just say, I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky that my presidency will be so fucking badass.
Yeah. Bad butt. That's what I've started saying now,
Yeah.
by the way. I want to say that for the record because I want it to catch on. Instead of saying badass, say bad butt. First of all, less vulgar, and that's important to me. And second of all, people are going to be confused and you're going to have their attention. And if you don't have people's attention, you're not living.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're not.
I think I would swear myself in on like a Jehovah's Witness pamphlet, not any of their actual scripture.
Yeah.
But just like a curious, like the Watchtower.
Yeah.
I would swear in on a slim copy of the Watchtower.
You know, my first instinct was to find the smallest book I could, and
Yeah.
not like but like the shortest.
I think that what it should be is if you're going to swear in on a book, then before the ceremony can end, you have to read that whole book out loud.
I don't know about reading the whole thing out loud. I think you have to give a book report. I think you have to stand up there and talk about what happens in Catcher in the
Webster's
Rye.
Dictionary defines the Bible as...
And I really enjoyed reading Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck.
One of the big characters is the sheriff in this book.
I don't know. We've entered like a visceral physical kind of experience that cannot be captured on podcast medium.
Yeah.
Our bodies are doing comedy that we don't even understand yet.
part-
Science hasn't even figured out the comedy that we're doing right now.
No, this is beyond science. What's happening in this?
It's
room.
beyond science?
It's Beyonce.
This is a Beyonce seance. This is my Beyonce seance.
When Beyonce dies,
We're going to have a Beyonce seance.
and that's going to be the plot of Gravediggers 5.
That's it. That's the one. Graverobbers 5. It's the Beyonce seance.
right, not Gravediggers.
So anyway, there are cats out there who have not been spayed who should. And there are cats out there who should not have been spayed but were.
And that's a great injustice.
Yeah.
Let's do cones and prawns.
Cones and prawns.
What's going on? The cones are pros and the prawns are cons. It's cones and prawns. That's an experience.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did you just say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a bunch of mush mouth nothing?
Why didn't you sing along?
Did you just
You don't. You left me hanging. You left me hanging, man.
Did you
You're
just
supposed to
count
come
us into nothing?
3, 4.
I said you're showing them bound us.
1, 2, 3, and a 1, 2, 3, and a cover. It's very good.
Try that game with your friends, dear listener. Establish that the rule is no matter what's going on, if somebody goes 2, 3, 4, you all have to start singing something.
Oh, hey, listener. Trust fall. Ow.
Why'd you do that?
I wanted them to catch me.
No, they're not here in the room with us.
Oh, right.
I would say that in the cones pile for this is really just the versatility of the word spade and the various places it can be put for episode titles and such. And in the prawns column, I put everything else.
I was going to say that I think one of the cones is that I laughed when I thought of this. And that one of the prawns is I don't actually know what the podcast is that I've suggested here today.
It can be difficult to evaluate something when it can't be defined.
Yeah.
Brian, scale of 1 to 10, 1 being can't do this podcast, won't do this podcast, 10 being this is the next big idea. It's going to make us rich. I'm going back to the classic formula. Where do you rate this?
I'm not going to say we can't do this podcast. I think if our lives depended on it, we could find
Gun
a way.
to our head.
We could find a way to bullshit our way through this and make this a legitimate concept in the 5 seconds we had before it's time to start.
Like a president-elect preparing his book report for Inauguration Day.
Yeah.
We could do it really quickly.
Right. We could make this podcast a shitty book report.
Yes.
That we do, in the 60 seconds before class when our person says, hey, did you do the book report? And you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, get out of here, our person.
Our person. My person.
Scale of 1 to 10 then.
I'm putting it at a 2.
I am also going to put it at a 2. No, I'm not. I'm putting it at a 1. You tried to
How?
talk me out of putting it at a 1.
I feel like we got to reserve 1s for something worse than this. I mean, this we could at least talk. Let's talk about what it's like growing up in Louisiana as a black man. That's our podcast.
Right.
That's like a 1.
Yeah,
to me.
that's a
Like,
podcast that like morally we should not do.
can't, won't, know?
Okay, all right, 2.
Yeah,
I'm up to a 2.
Thank you. We got 2 2s, and that's the best score this week. We're doing it, friends. Ding, ding, ring-a-ling-a-ling. That's the podcast. How did this get spayed? We've decided that's our podcast because that's the rules now.
See,
I tricked you.
I thought that we were getting through an entire episode where I wouldn't have to go search out a bunch of sound effects to put in until just then, and you just made me add all of those sound effects.
I did.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Minutes of editing.
Oh,
work.
my God. Hey, I'm going to play this sick guitar lick real
Oh,
quick.
no, Brian, don't.
Listen to all my fans.
No.
All my fans are just going crazy.
Oh,
That's the sound of them throwing panties at me.
That's going to take so long to find.
Oh, yeah. What are you going to Google search? I hear you right now Google searching. How do I find a sound? But you can't do that. You're making that sound in the room right
Joke's
now.
on you. I'm doing it Foley.
No. I don't like it. I don't know what we're doing.
I think we should stop this episode.
I think it's time for us to wrap this episode up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another episode of Brian Wants to Do a Podcast. I'm Brian Huther. I want to do a podcast.
I'm Ben Oxshire.
And this is my provisional catchphrase.
Vote for Joe Biden or I'm going to punch you in the face.